Okay. Again, let's close. Excuse me. Reopen. Sorry if these sounds are really annoying. They might be. This one with all the saliva. Let's just delete it. Trying to create some kind of... Oh, hello. I accidentally clicked on the left-hand edge of the block there and triggered a resize operation, I think. And then we got a crash. So what's happening here? There's no view. For this tempo guide. Ah, shit. Generate snap points. Oh, I didn't think about this. So the problem, I think, was the tempo guide was out of view, I think. I had this kind of situation going on. So when the actual tempo block control is off view, you can it still generates snap points on the workspace. Oh, they disappeared. That's wrong. That shouldn't be happening. And then it just crashes. Right. Interesting. Okay, let me just think. So the tempo block is a special case where it's the only kind of block in block code which it still interacts with the drag and drop system, even if it's not currently in view. No, that's not true to say that. Every block on the workspace interacts with the drag and drop system, even if it's not in view. But the tempo block control is supposed to remain visible even if it's off the left-hand side of the view, because it needs to keep rendering these snapping points on the lane. And it looks like that's not the case, first of all. So there's a couple of issues here. The first one is that crash that we just saw, and the other one is the fact that it seems to be disappearing entirely as soon as you get to that point, which is not what should be happening. So I have some... It's something like even if off left, it's like really verbose way of off left. Show even when off left, which of course is a virtual function call. I have a lot of that kind of stuff where it's just like a bool that should be setting, but instead it's a virtual function. I'll go through and clear all that stuff up one day. So visibility check. Oh, well, I'm not even overriding this. So let's just do that now. You should not solve this kind of stuff with virtual functions, but I'm just, for now. Just to get this working. So this should return true for temper guides. I need to solve all this. It should be final. I'm going to remove the word virtual from all of these. And I'm going to remove the word override. Because you don't need both. Alright, does that just solve my woes here? The only reason I'm lamenting this virtual function call is it's just like I should just set a boolean in the base, really. If I'm gonna do the whole object-oriented thing here, it's needless to just introduce these virtual. Well, probably doesn't matter that much in this case, but anyway. Lost my train of thought because I'm thinking about other things. It's still disappearing. Still disappearing. Visibility check. Visible true. Control visibility check. False. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I can't do it like that anymore. This is some of the stuff that I rewrote recently. That's why there's bugs in it. So just to explain what's going on here, just have a sip of coffee. I have this rule that, so this is a special block which says, even if this is off the left side, I still want you to show it. But there's another check which is, so there's two types of visibility for a block. There's, I mean, obviously this block is visible, but even if you zoom all the way out so that it's replaced with like a flat color, that sort of control, that subscene that you interact with the mouse and keyboard and whatever, that's invisible, but the block itself is still visible conceptually because it's just like represented in a different way. It's represented using this rectangle because it's so far zoomed out. It's just an optimization really. It's so that I'm not rendering a million things when you zoom out. It's much cheaper to just render a flat rectangle. So there's two types of visibility. It's like, is the block visible in any way at all? And then is the actual interactable control visible? So when we say is the block visible in any way at all, if it's off the left-hand side of the screen, it's not visible, right? Except tempo blocks have a special rule where they continue being visible even if they're off the left-hand side of the screen, because we want to keep rendering these snapping points to the right. But then I also have a rule right now, which is if the visible size of the block on the screen is less than a certain point, by which I mean basically the threshold for when the control disappears and we're just showing this flat rectangle. If you're at that point, then the control is hidden. Is this making any sense? I have no idea. So those two rules are not interacting at the moment because you can see if you gradually move a block off the edge of the screen, the visible pixels are what contributes to like whether the control is actually visible or not. Like we don't extend off the left hand edge of the screen to get the actual like virtual width of the block when considering whether to show the control or not. We do need that information for other purposes, but not for the visibility check. Anyway, so what I'm saying here in the code is should the actual control, like the interactable control, be visible or not? And I'm literally just checking if the width is smaller than that threshold. And I'm disregarding the fact that tempo blocks should be shown even if they're off the left-hand side. So, how should this work? How should this work? Because I don't want to just should we even put off left? I don't know how this should interact actually. What do I actually want to happen here? It's always a good question to ask. If we're at this point, the control should still be visible because I want to render those snapping points. Do I still want to render the snapping points even in this situation? How does this even work? Oh shit. Sorry about the noise. Right, so it should always be visible. If it's off the right hand side of the screen, it's not going to crash like that, right? Turn autoplay off. If I do this, that's going to crash, right? It's crashing because it's expecting the block to be visible. If I move it off the right hand edge of the screen, I don't get a crash, right? Right, that makes sense. And if I zoom out enough for this to be hidden, then I get a crash. Right. So what must have been happening before is I was just doing this here. Really? Is that what was happening? What's that? Oh, hold on. It doesn't seem right. But I think it does the right thing. It doesn't seem right conceptually, but I think technically, at the end of the day, it's going to do the correct thing. I think it's a problem of my names for things are not necessarily correct. So is that actually snapping? But it's so far out you can't tell, maybe. That's not snapping. Oh, it kind of is. It's not snapping very well. That's... If you zoom into a sensible level, it snaps okay. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah. Interesting stuff. See, that's fucked up as well. This is basically the larger problem here, I think, is that these snapping points that are generated on the workspace shouldn't be part of the tempo block control. They shouldn't be part of that object, or that node, I should say. They should be a separate thing that's generated. So this is just like legacy problems. Like, this is the way that I set things up originally years ago. And it's just always been like that because I never thought to fix it. I think when you zoom out and when this goes off the left-hand edge of the screen, it should disappear just like every other block. And these snapping points and markers should not be part of it. There should be just be a separate thing that's rendered. So at the moment I'm going to have a problem where if I create another tempo block here, when I scroll off, this doesn't disappear, this tempo control, and then suddenly it's overlapping. Oh no, it doesn't. I forgot I did that. So that's not so bad right now, because it is doing something marginally intelligent there. Yeah, there's also the fact that it is kind of nice that this control stays on the screen even when the block is off the screen. That's the other nice thing about that. But I still think the snapping points should not be part of the block control.